Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into something pretty interesting in the Ethereum world. Ether.Fi. The ticker is ETH.
Yeah, it's definitely making some waves. We've looked into how they're approaching staking a bit differently.
So what's the elevator pitch? Ether.Fi calls itself a non-custodial liquid restaking protocol.
And that non-custodial part is, well, key. Unlike maybe some other ways to stake where you effectively hand over your ETH. Ether is designed so you keep your private keys.
You hold on to the keys yourself. That feels like a pretty fundamental point for a lot of users.
Absolutely. Control is a big deal in crypto.
Right, and it also links up with Eigenlayer. Now that adds another dimension. For anyone not familiar, what's Eigenlayer doing in this picture?
So Eigenlayer is basically a platform that lets you reuse your staked ETH.
Yeah.
You're already securing Ethereum, right? Eigenlayer lets that same stake help secure other things, maybe new protocols, bridges, oracles, you name it. It's like putting your capital to work twice.
And the idea is stakers can potentially earn extra yield from these other services they're helping to secure.
Exactly. More rewards for the same staked ETH.
Okay, so our mission today is really to unpack Ether.Fi, how it works, and get a handle on its native token, ETHFI. What's the token's main job?
Well, ETHFI is sort of the heart of the protocol. It functions as both the main utility token and the governance token.
Governance. Okay, so decision-making power. Who exactly gets to make the calls about Ether.Fi's direction?
That power rests with the ETHFI token holders. They get to vote on, pretty important stuff.
Like what specifically?
Things like managing the Ether.Fi treasury funds, approving major protocol upgrades, deciding on the protocol's fees and how those fees get distributed. It really aims to put the community in charge.
That does sound quite decentralized. Let's look at some numbers. We've got data from around mid-March 2024. Total ETHFI supply is capped at 1 billion, right?
Correct. 1 billion tokens total in maximum supply. And when it listed on Binance, the initial circulating supply was about 115.2 million ETHFI.
Which is, what, around 11.5% of the total?
Yeah, roughly 11.52%. So not everything was available right at the start.
And Binance was involved beyond just listing it. Didn't they have a launch pool for ETHFI?
They did. The Binance launch pool got an allocation of 20 million ETHFI, which is 2% of the total supply.
Okay.
That kicked off March 14th, 2024. Users could stake BNB or FDUSD to farm, essentially earn ETHFI tokens before the main listing.
Got it. So let's break down the overall token distribution. We've got 2% for the launch pool. Where else did the tokens go?
Okay, so 11% was set aside for an airdrop. That's often used to reward early users or participants.
Right, get tokens into the hands of the community early on.
And you have a larger chunk, 32.5%, allocated to investors and advisors, and the core team received 23.26%.
That accounts for a good portion. What about the rest? It's still quite a bit left.
It is, and this is where it gets interesting regarding governance. A full 27.24% is allocated to the DEA treasury.
Wow, over a quarter of the supply for the community-controlled treasury.
Exactly. It really backs up that governance aspect we mentioned. There's also 1% for the protocol guilds supporting broader Ethereum development and 3% allocated for liquidity purposes, like on exchanges.
Okay, so wrapping things up. Ether.Fi is trying a different approach to Ethereum staking. You keep your keys. It leverages Eigenlayer for potential extra yield. And the ETHFI token is crucial for both utility within the protocol and, importantly, for governance, letting holders vote on key decisions.
And that distribution really emphasizes the community angle, especially with that large DAO treasury allocation.
Definitely. So just to leave you, the listener, with something to chew on,
Yeah.
considering that significant chunk allocated to the DAO treasury and how much power that gives ETHFI holders over the protocol's path, how might this kind of community-first governance structure influence where decentralized finance goes next? It's quite a setup.
It really is. How that plays out, how effectively the community governs, that's something worth watching in the DeFi space.